Welcome to Everything Life Coaching with John Kim and Noelle Cordeaux, founders of JRNI Coaching. If you're inspired to begin your own life coaching practice or just want to learn a little bit more about what it's all about, visit jrni.co. That's JRNI.co.
Hey guys, on today's episode, Noelle, what are we going to talk about in today's episode?
We're going to talk about ICF credentialing, coaching certification, and our own unique paths into this field.
Yes, and finally, why Noelle calls me Chucky.
I just take your lead. I think we should open up with that story. So, John, tell us about your alter ego.
When I was in fourth grade or third grade, kind of new to America, a few years in, my parents didn't speak the English well, and I just said my parents didn't speak the English well, which is hilarious. But they dressed me up in a strawberry shortcake shirt because they didn't know it was for boys or for girls, and so I was rocking. There's photos of me rocking like a bowl haircut and a strawberry shortcake T-shirt at like age I don't know, third grade, maybe a little bit younger, and so I'm sure I got harassed at school, but my Korean name was Chulgi, and the teachers couldn't pronounce it. You know, they would go through the roll, Bob, James, Danny, and they couldn't say Chulgi, so they just said, "Okay, we're gonna call you Chucky." So my
Oh,
name was Chucky all the way up until the fourth grade. And the reason why it's kind of funny is because I see this little Korean boy with the bowl haircut and a strawberry shortcake shirt, and his name was Chucky.
aw,
Yeah,
I
and then
love
my
that
parents
story.
I mean, it's kinda cute, but I don't know, it could also be kinda traumatic, and then my, and of course, I hated my name, right? Because no one could say it, and so my parents went to a Korean fortune teller, when I was around 10-ish or 10, 11, and then they came back with John, which is and again, the most generic. I mean, my name is basically Bob Smith because it's John Kim, and they had to number us because there were so many in class, throughout my schooling.
That is so interesting. So you had your name officially changed by your parents when you were around age 10.
Yes, I actually, had an opportunity to pick my name if I'd been old enough, and you may be talking to a Sebastian or I mean, I don't know. I would've picked something maybe not Sebastian, something cooler than John, but I was just too young to know, and I was just I just took what I was given, I guess.
I don't think I've ever conceptualized what I would name myself if I had the opportunity.
I can't imagine you, anything else other than Noel.
Me neither. Isn't that weird?
So speaking of names and titles, let's talk about ICF.
Yeah. So the reason that we're bringing this to you guys today is as you follow Journey Coaching and you follow John and I through our respective careers in this field, we are now through Journey Coaching offering a full path to ICF credentialing. And in the land of coaching, what that means, how it works, who should go after that credentialing can be very confusing. And so we wanted to create space to ask questions. And, guys, this is kind of consider this sitting in on a team meeting with John and I, where I get to explain what we're doing.
We just lost everyone.
You think so?
But this is actually a really big deal. I think not only for journey coaching, not only for you and I and our stories, but just um, for just coaching in general. I mean, so ICF stands for International Coaching Federation, correct?
Yes, correct.
And Noelle is very familiar with ICF because you went through the program, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and so to now like bring it home, to now have an offering for our own coaches, I think this is just huge. It's the evolution of our company.
It is huge. And so let me kind of backtrack a little bit and explain. And we've talked about this before, how historically things work. So coaching is an emerging field. Coaching is not fully developed as the field of therapy or other associated helping modalities are. So we're in this really interesting period of time where a lot of people call themselves coaches who have not been through any kind of training, and yet they may be great at what they do. We don't know. There
Right.
are organizations out there like the International Coaching Federation that are saying, hey, we should probably put some competencies and standards and ethics in place so that there's consistency across the field and so that the general public knows what to expect when you work with someone who has agreed to these specific and consistent standards.
Yeah, and I think, this is also what makes coaching, intensives I don't know what the word is. I don't wanna use the word professional, but it definitely takes you deeper because there are standards, there's criteria, there are all these things that are required, and, we actually had to go through all of that and come out the other side to actually be ICF certified.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've put, and our team has put years and years and years of work into our curriculum and into really, modifying the program to truly represent the best of science and best practices out there for coaching. So, one of the big misconceptions that I hear all the time is, okay, so if I go through an ICF program, that means I'm an ICF certified coach, right? And
Right.
there is actually, becoming a coach is a two-part process if you're going to follow the ICF path. So, step one is your coaching certification, becoming a certified coach. That's step one. We have been accredited as a coaching certification program by the ICF for several years. That gets you the first part of the process. And then we had so many people asking us because they enjoy the educational experience that we provide to really build out the full portfolio path, which is additional education, mentor hours, examination prep, and so much more goes into it to truly prepare people to go beyond certification to obtain a deeper cut, a deeper level of a professional credential that makes you part of a secondary organization. So you're a journey coach with a journey coaching certification that is accredited by the ICF. And then if you go on into the portfolio path, then you become a part of the International Coaching Federation as well as a credential holder.
So let me ask you this, if I was curious about coaching, what value is that? What is valuable for me if I continue and do the ICF track?
It's a personal preference. And I think
Mhm.
for a lot of folks, the professional credentialing path provides a lot of comfort because there are very specific competencies, behavioral markers, rules, standards, and ethics that everyone who is a part of the International Coaching Federation agrees to abide by. So if you find discomfort in gray areas and you just want to know, what's the best practice? What am I supposed to be doing? How do I do it and why? Then ICF is a great choice for you because it's very structured, it's very straightforward, it's a big organization. They have a lot of visibility, they have a lot of credibility in the field. And if you want to go into corporate coaching, executive coaching, health coaching in other systems, it is very valuable to have that credential because it's recognizable.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, exactly what Noelle said as far as, like, corporate coaching, all of that other type of coaching, which is just as, fulfilling and rewarding with the ICF, it kind of gives you an entry into that world. So you can, have the journey certification, and then because that's more of a wellness space, and then you could have the ICF, and you could tap into both worlds, and I think that just makes you a more well-rounded coach, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing that I have to really make clear here is that the ICF core competencies, standards, and ethics of the field don't necessarily teach you technique, intervention, and theory to use in session with clients. And so it's very important to get the certification under your belt first. And then the expectation is that you take your time with a professional credential because you have to collect, similar to other professions which have licensure, hours. You have to collect 100 hours of coaching. You have to collect 10 hours of mentor coaching. You have to sit for a comprehensive exam. You have to submit for an oral exam. So it's a long-term process.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. When you experienced went through the experience ICF, how was it for you? What was it like for you
It
going through that track?
It was positive. So when I mean, when I started in the field 10 years ago, just to give everybody perspective, I began my first coaching certification program when I was 28. So then I graduated when I was 29. I'm 39 now. And after I went through coaching certification, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And fun fact, John, did you know that I started out as an executive coach?
No.
Yep, I started
No.
out in the
Yeah.
world of executive coaching, and so I was
Yeah, but is that because of ICF and that's kind of the way that they position you?
No, that was the
No?
training certification program that I went through, and I was
Mm,
at that time kind of looking at the landscape of coaching and saying,
mhm.
it was an area that I was exploring. So I started out in that realm and I didn't really like it, but I didn't give up on the ICF credential. I just kind of put it on the back burner while I figured myself out. And I started working as a coach in a couple of different spheres. I worked on body image recovery for women. I worked on confidence. I went deeper. I kept getting more coaching certifications and more education in positive psychology. So I actually went through three different coaching certifications
Mhm.
before I really got serious about the ICF credential. And then I accomplished all of the hours and sat for the comprehensive exam and submitted all the orals over a 4-year period after I became certified.
Here's what's amazing about coaching and what I didn't get the opportunity to have, on my going through the whole therapist training. So as a therapist, you're kind of pigeonholed into the clinical world, and you're an MFT, or you could be